Today is Friday, October 13th, and Hamas, as well as Palestinian leaders, have called for a day of rage, a day of jihad. And as we speak right now, at the time of this recording, there are Arabs, Palestinian Arabs in Nablus, inside Judea and Samaria, marching through the streets, waving Hamas flags. The IDF is now warning more than 1 million Gazan residents of Gaza, to flee from the northern part of the Gaza Strip to the southern part. Many people are anticipating a ground invasion in the next day or two. The United Nations is protesting, saying that this could be a potential humanitarian disaster. The question is, where is the UN when it comes to the more than 100 Israeli hostages still being held inside the Gaza Strip? Stay tuned for all of the latest updates from Gaza. I'm Luke, and this is the Israel Guys. Hey guys, welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of anti-Israel propaganda and Jew hatred, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Make sure to hit subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, if you're following us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or join our breaking news WhatsApp group for all of the latest information coming out of Israel. A quick update on the war happening in Israel. The death toll from Hamas's invasion of Israel on October 7th, now 6 days ago, has now passed 1,300 Israeli citizens, 3,200 are injured, and 120 families in Israel have been, or 120 hostage families have been notified that their family members are indeed being held hostage inside the Gaza Strip. We now know that more than 6,000 rockets have been fired since last Saturday from Gaza into Israel. If you hear any of those alarms in the background, that's because more rockets are being fired as we speak. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, in what's being called a historic press conference, he said, quote, "We will wipe Hamas off the face of the earth." We're going to get into it more in a little bit. The IDF is warning Gazans to flee to the southern part of Gaza, a potential ground invasion happening there. I wanted to update you guys quickly. We have an emergency campaign running to help provide much needed equipment and supplies to the communities of Judea and Samaria, small farms, as well as security teams. If you want to join that effort, we are delivering drones and other needed supplies as we speak. You can go to serveisrael.com/emergency campaign. We'll have the link down in the description below if you want to join that effort. So the IDF is warning, I believe it's 1.1 million Gaza residents. There's 2 million people inside Gaza, and the IDF has drawn a map, and they're saying if you are in the northern half of Gaza, flee to the southern half, basically in what most people are considering the IDF's and Israel's attempt to save as many civilians as possible. Originally, there's a deadline of midnight on Saturday night, October 14th, which could be the time that the IDF is going to invade Gaza with a ground invasion. So far, everything has been through airstrikes. The IDF has been hitting hundreds of targets, Hamas targets inside the Gaza Strip with airstrikes. But many people think there will be a ground invasion, and this could be it. Obviously, the United Nations is saying that a movement like this is impossible without massive humanitarian consequences. Basically, we know Israel has been driven to measures like this, and they're going to do what they need to do to basically eradicate Hamas. That's what Israel's defense minister said. And they're trying to save as many civilian lives as they possibly can. Warnings to evacuate northern Gaza have been disseminated today through flyers, text alerts. Even the IDF even took over Al-Aqsa TV, which is a local Gaza TV station, and broadcasted their message for people to leave the north and go to the south. It remains to be seen if they'll actually abide by the deadline of Saturday night at midnight, and whether or not they're going to invade Gaza with a ground invasion or they have a different operation. We'll let you guys know as soon as we find out more information about that. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Gilad Erdan, he's slamming the UN because they're acting so concerned about civilians in Gaza when, in fact, they don't seem to be really doing much about the at least 120 Israeli civilians who are being held captive by Hamas. Who knows what unimaginable horrors they are facing, torture, things that we don't even want to talk about because, make no mistake, Hamas equals ISIS. And I'm going to get into that in just a second. Other information coming to light, surfacing. An interesting fact, by the way, El Al is Israel's national airline. They have not run flights on the Sabbath, on Shabbat, which is Saturday in Israel, for 41 years. They just announced they are going to run flights for the first time in 41 years this Shabbat in order to keep bringing Israeli soldiers home to Israel so that they can fight in the war. Reserve soldiers being called up from all over the country, but also soldiers that are abroad. They're trying to get home as quickly as they possibly can so that they can go to the fronts. There is new details. I know we mentioned this before, but it appears to be confirmed, or mostly confirmed, that Egypt actually warned Israel about Hamas's attack. Israel received the warning and told Egypt that they knew about it, but they didn't think it was as serious as Egypt was saying, or maybe Egypt was misinterpreting it. But the Channel 12 in Israel is now reporting that Egyptian intelligence did indeed warn Israel that Hamas was preparing this attack. So obviously there'll be a lot more information forthcoming about that as well. Guys, I want to show you the impact that your donations are making. So many hundreds and hundreds of you guys have been joining in, donating to our emergency campaign at serveisrael.com/emergency campaign. But check out these photos and videos, the impact of the work that you are helping us do. Our volunteers and staff helped stock shelves at a local supermarket here in Israel. So many soldiers have been called to the war front. That the grocery stores were just having trouble keeping their shelves stocked. They had the food and the supplies they needed, but they didn't have the workers, so we were able to go and help with that. We've been buying food and snacks for IDF soldiers. We've been buying toiletries, other supplies that they need. We have been actually housing IDF soldiers, as well as we have a coffee shop here, so we're providing them with everything that they need. We're providing them with good night's sleep, beds, blankets, pillows, that kind of thing. And we're buying as much equipment as we possibly can to make sure farms in Judea and Samaria, especially small farms that have just a few people or families living on them, small communities, security teams in Judea and Samaria, providing them with equipment. We've been buying drones, other supplies. We have supplies en route right now. Basically, however much our fundraising campaign big impact. So next week and in the coming days, we'll have a lot more information about propaganda, fake news, things like that. But you guys are probably well aware by the media and by social media that the propaganda is already growing about what is happening in Israel, even to the extent that Hamas is now claiming that they did not target women and children in their invasion of Gaza, which is just an absolute outright lie, okay? 100% fake news. But if you've ever heard of a Qatar-owned and funded state-controlled media network called Al Jazeera, they're propagating this content. They're propagating this information. They're giving a platform to Hamas and Hamas supporters to actually come on TV. And they have millions of followers and millions of people in an online presence on digital social media, YouTube, things like that. They're coming on and saying, no, Hamas didn't target women and children. That's fake news. No, they didn't behead anyone. Fake news. Guess what? We know 40 babies were killed in last week's invasion. Some of them were decapitated. That is 100% confirmed. Personal friend of ours who is an officer in the IDF confirmed that information, as well as multiple other networks. I believe Fox News, I-24 News in Israel. It's not just one person saying it. If you're seeing it circulating around social media, things are as horrific as they, or in sometimes even worse, okay? I just want it to be really clear. Who is Hamas? Videos now are circulating, and this is developing. There'll probably be more information coming out of Hamas digging up water pipes in Gaza in 2021. And what did they do with those water pipes? They made rockets out of them. They sabotaged sewer lines going to an Israeli city that was part of a desalination plant. What happens? Ruins daily life in Gaza. They take water that could be going to the 2 million people who live there, and they take those pipes and they make rockets out of them and they fire them in Israel. And many times those rockets land inside of Gaza and kill their own people. Guess what else was found after Hamas's invasion of Israel? ISIS flags. ISIS flags were found in Israel, left behind by Hamas terrorists when 1,500 or more, maybe 2,000 Hamas terrorists invaded Israel. The other thing is that Hamas's tactics. What do? They entered Israel. They shot and murdered indiscriminately. Women, children, men, elderly, whole entire families were murdered. Now we do know people were decapitated. People were dragged out of bomb shelters and shot execution style, point blank range. Families were burnt. I mean, completely burnt, so horrible that you would never want to see these images in their cars. Executions. The bottom line, Hamas equals ISIS. No difference at all. Hamas should and will be eradicated, okay? Make no mistake about it. We don't want to be all negative. There was a pizza shop in Hawara, which is the Arab village close to where we are broadcasting from in Samaria. And a grandmother that was taken captive to Gaza, I believe she was actually like an 85-year-old Holocaust survivor. She was taken captive to Gaza, right? A pizza shop, a pizzeria that was called, what was it called? Called Eiffel Bakery and Supermarket, located in the middle of the town. They decided to rebrand. They take their logo, take their branding. They added the picture of this grandmother that's a captive in Gaza. They put her on their logo, on their branding, and they put that on their sign on the front of their shop, broadcasting for all the world to see, mocking a Holocaust survivor who survived the horrors of World War II, came to Israel, now taken captive by an ISIS-like organization, Hamas. Guess what the IDF had to say in response? Well, we'll just show you the video. They completely and immediately, by the way, bulldozed this entire pizza shop. The order to raise the building was given by the head of the IDF Central Command. Way to go, IDF. They are no longer playing around, no longer not giving 1 inch to Israel's enemies. And by the way, this pizza shop was located in Samaria, which is supposed to be under the Palestinian Authority, supposed to be controlled by Fatah, which is supposed to not be, Hamas supporters. Guess what? Arabs in Judea and Samaria are marching through the streets right now waving Hamas flags, okay? They are 100% Hamas supporters. This pizza shop mocking an elderly grandmother that is captive inside Gaza. Guys, more information coming out of Israel every day. We'll continue to keep you updated multiple times a day across our social media platforms as well as YouTube. You can join our breaking news WhatsApp group. The link will be down in the description below. Please join our emergency fundraising campaign to provide the local communities in Judea and Samaria with desperately needed equipment. The link to donate is serveisrael.com/emergency campaign. You can click the link down below. Thank you guys so much for your support. Make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, give your comment of support or thoughts down in the comment section below. As always, tune out the fake news, tune into what is actually happening here in the land of Israel. We're here every single day with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.